So recently, former NFL quarterback Matt Ryan was speaking with the media at some kind of event he was at, and this is from Alex Strauff of ESPN Milwaukee. Matt Ryan starts off by saying that Jordan Love had a great first year, and then he says the space where he takes the next steps is just cleaning up the little things down in and down out. Ryan said via Alex Strauff of ESPN Milwaukee, "I think that's going to come with experience. Having all that film to watch from last year, just cleaning up some of the simple things, being a little more consistent. If he can do that, the sky is the limit." And speaking on Jordan Love moving into his second year starting and sort of what Matt Ryan expects, I put out a poll on my YouTube earlier this morning, only an hour ago, so it has 474 votes. But my question, which I thought I knew the answer to this, and it seems that I was correct on what I believe you all thought, but I said, will Jordan Love be more or less productive next season? 94% say more, 6% say less. And I've seen a few comments over the time where people seem to believe, I think it's a minority of people, but they believe that because teams, have the film on Jordan Love, they're going to be able to figure out how to stop him coming into his second year starting. And while I see why that could make sense, at the same time, I don't agree that that's going to happen, because the thing is with any starting quarterback, other positions as well, going into year two, you have that much more experience, you have that much more chemistry with your receivers, and when you look at the statistical history of quarterbacks going from year one to year two, I was looking it up this morning, and I found some stats from 33rd Team, their website. They did a study, or one, I'll name him here from the article, Jared Hammond in 2021. He found 30 quarterbacks from 2010 to 2019 who were drafted in round one and looked at their stats from year one to year two and sort of show, on average, how they progress into their second season. So 63.3% of the quarterbacks improved their completion percentage in their second year. 63.3% of the quarterbacks improved their yards per game in their second year. 60% of the quarterbacks improved their touchdowns per game in their second year. So far, I guess that would be 40% don't improve, but on average, more do improve than don't in those areas. Then here's the biggest one. 70% of the quarterbacks improve their interceptions per game in their second season. So it's no shock that quarterbacks in their second season are better decision makers. They have learned, where to try to fit the ball in the NFL game, where to not try to fit the ball. And so because of that, lots of these guys improve when it comes to throwing interceptions. And I was looking at Aaron Rodgers and sort of comparing his first year starting stats to his second year in 2009. In his first year, 4,038 yards. Next year, 4,434 yards, so nearly 400 more yards. He played in 16 games in both those years. 28 touchdowns in 2008 to then 30 touchdowns in 2009. Then here's the biggest difference. 13 interceptions in 2008 to only 7 interceptions in 2009. So Aaron Rodgers played at a much higher level, was a much better when it came to his interceptions, which I think that continued for the rest of his career. He never had another season where he threw over 13 interceptions, which he threw in his first season. And so when you look at Jordan Love and his stats from his first year, he had pretty much a better statistical year than Rodgers. When you look at touchdowns and his interceptions, there was one more game played, of course, with the 17-game season. But I really don't see Jordan Love taking a dip in his second year starting. And one of the biggest reasons for me is because when you look at these receivers and the fact that they were all so young and so many of them being rookies, I think that, because they have that experience, because they no longer have to learn the playbook, they're able to play much faster. And Jordan Love, in an interview in the past week, was talking with some reporters, and he brought up the fact that right now that lots of these guys are no longer on the basic level, which they were to start last year in the offseason. And he said now they know where they need to be, and they're moving really fast. And I was also watching a podcast from Julian Edelman and Cooper Kupp the other day, and they were just talking about how much easier it is after your first year in the NFL because you're no longer having to learn the playbook, figuring out where you need to be. And when you are thinking less, you're able to just operate based on that, the things you just know when it comes to where to space yourself, where to run routes, all that kind of stuff. You're able to play so much more free and so much more fast. And because so many of the Packers receivers were so young last year, I think we're going to see Jordan Love take another step, not only from himself getting better, improving in the offseason, learning what he can do better, But also a big factor is these receivers who now know where they're supposed to be. And we saw early last year there were a lot of mishaps because of these young players playing a ton of snaps. And we saw the improvement in the second half of the season, and I think we'll see even a bigger jump from where the Packers ended off last season. This whole offseason, all these young guys got to work on their game and figure out where they can get better as well. And so I think that Jordan Love is going to be much better in next season. And then here we have from Matt Ryan another quote. He made a couple throws during that game that reminded me so much of Aaron, Ryan said. The ability to move outside the pocket to throw from off-platform situations and deliver the ball with the velocity and accuracy that he did, I was really impressed. And I even remember back in, I guess it was 2022, if I'm not mistaken, when when Jordan Love came in for Rodgers in that Eagles game, and was it Darius Slay, I think, who was noting how he saw a little bit of Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love, and I remember talking about that, and it's like, from one game, it's hard to tell for quarterback's future, for Jordan Love only playing at the end of an Eagles game. But when someone comes out and says they see a little Aaron Rodgers in them, it makes you go, okay, maybe there's something here. And I think that we have seen lots of moments like that. And so while Jordan Love, of course, needs to consistently play at this level to ever be in the conversation with Rodgers when it comes to talent, skill, production, all of that kind of stuff, he's sort of moving in that direction when you compare Jordan Love and Aaron Rodgers to both of their first years starting. And so that's pretty exciting. And then finally here, and these quotes I got from a Packers Wire article, they did a good excerpt on it. He said this: they jumped off the tape when it comes to the receivers. The speed and explosiveness that they have, they've done a great job of putting pieces around him to be successful. And that is very true. We've talked about just how deep this Packers receiver room is and how much better they should get coming into their second season as well. But that is all I have for this video. If you want more Packers content, feel free to subscribe down below. Make sure you turn on the post notifications. That way, anytime I put out Packers videos, Packers news, you'll get notified on your phone right away. But that's it for this one, and I'll see you guys next time.